Have you ever looked back on a choice you made and wondered, what was I thinking? Why did I buy that expensive gadget I never use? Or why did I choose that specific career path? It often feels like we're in the driver's seat, making rational, well thought out decisions. But the truth is, a powerful, invisible force is constantly at work, quietly shaping every choice we make, from what we eat for breakfast to who we spend our lives with. Today, we are going on a deep dive into the fascinating psychology of decision-making. We'll uncover the hidden biases, emotional tugs, and social pressures that influence you every single day. And most importantly, I'll share some powerful strategies to help you reclaim control and start making more conscious, deliberate choices. Welcome to the invisible force shaping your decisions. So, what is this invisible force? It's a complex web of mental shortcuts, emotional reactions, and social influences hardwired into our brains. Let's start with the mental shortcuts, also known as heuristics. Think of them as your brain's autopilot. In a world full of information, our brains need a way to make quick judgments without getting overwhelmed. Heuristics are incredibly useful for that. They help us decide what to wear or which route to take to work without having to spend hours analyzing every single option. But here's the catch. While these shortcuts are efficient, they're not always accurate. They can lead to systematic errors in thinking, which psychologists call cognitive biases. Let's look at a few common ones. First up, the availability heuristic. This is our tendency to overestimate the likelihood of events that are more easily recalled in our memory. For example, after seeing news reports about a plane crash, you might feel that flying is much more dangerous than driving, even though statistically, the opposite is true. The vivid, easily available memory of the crash makes it seem more common than it actually is. This bias affects everything from our health choices to our investment decisions, all based on what information comes to mind most easily. Next, we have the confirmation bias, one of the most pervasive biases out there. This is our natural tendency to search for, interpret, and remember information that confirms our existing beliefs. If you believe a certain political candidate is the best, you'll likely seek out news articles that praise them and dismiss those that criticize them. It's like wearing glasses that only let you see evidence that supports what you already think. This creates an echo chamber in our minds, making it incredibly difficult to consider alternative viewpoints or even admit when we are wrong. Then there's the anchoring effect. This happens when we rely too heavily on the first piece of information we receive, the anchor, when making decisions. Imagine you're shopping for a watch. The first one you see is priced at $5,000. Every other watch you see after that, even one that costs $1,000, will seem like a bargain in comparison. That initial $5,000 price anchored your perception of value. Marketers use this all the time with original prices and discounted offers. The initial high price becomes the anchor, making the sale price seem much more attractive. Finally, let's talk about the framing effect. The way information is presented, or framed, can dramatically influence our choices, even if the underlying facts are the same. Would you rather choose a medical treatment that has a 90% success rate or one that has a 10% failure rate? Most people would choose the first option, even though they both mean the exact same thing. The positive framing feels safer and more appealing. This shows how easily our decisions can be swayed simply by the language used to describe the options. Now, you might think that having more options is always better, right? More choices mean a better chance of finding the perfect fit. But that's not always the case. This brings us to a fascinating concept called the paradox of choice. Psychologist Barry Schwartz argues that while some choice is good, too much choice can lead to decision paralysis and dissatisfaction. When faced with dozens of types of jam in a supermarket or hundreds of shows to watch on a streaming service, we can become overwhelmed. The pressure to make the best choice becomes so great that we either fail to make a decision at all, or we end up feeling less satisfied with our final choice, always wondering if we could have picked something better. But our decisions aren't just shaped by these cognitive shortcuts and the number of options we have. One of the most powerful drivers of our behavior is emotion. We like to think of ourselves as logical beings, but neuroscientist Antonio Damasio's research shows that emotions are not the enemy of good decision-making. They are an essential part of it. His studies of patients with brain damage that impaired their ability to feel emotions revealed that they struggled to make even the simplest decisions, like what to eat for lunch. They could logically list the pros and cons, but they couldn't make the final call. Why? Because emotions act as a guide. That gut feeling or hunch is often your brain's way of rapidly processing past experiences and subtle cues to tell you whether something feels right or wrong. However, Intense emotions can also hijack our rational thinking. When we are angry, we might make impulsive, aggressive decisions. When we are excited, we might take on more risk than we normally would. And when we are anxious or sad, we might become overly cautious or avoid making decisions altogether. Think about retail therapy, shopping to make yourself feel better. That's a clear example of an emotional decision. The key is to recognize when emotions are helping you and when they are hindering you. Finally, we are not islands. We are deeply social creatures, and the people around us exert a huge influence on our choices. This is the power of social conformity. We have a fundamental need to belong, and one way we achieve that is by aligning our behaviors and beliefs with those of the group. The famous Asch conformity experiments showed this clearly. Participants were asked to match the length of a line with 3 other options. When others in the group, who were secretly actors, unanimously gave the wrong answer, a surprising number of participants went along with the group, even when the correct answer was obvious. They doubted their own judgment just to fit in. This pressure can influence our fashion choices, our political views, and even our moral judgments. We look to others for cues on how to act, especially in uncertain situations. So, we have cognitive biases, the paradox of choice, emotional influences, and social pressure all working behind the scenes. It sounds a bit daunting, doesn't it? It might feel like we have no real control, but that's not true. The first and most important step to making better decisions is awareness. By understanding these invisible forces, you can start to spot them in your own life. And once you can spot them, you can counteract them. Here are a few actionable strategies to help you become a more conscious decision maker. First, slow down. Many of our worst decisions happen when we are rushed, stressed, or on autopilot. When faced with an important choice, give yourself time. Pause and take a breath. This simple act can shift you from a reactive, emotional state to a more thoughtful, deliberate one. Don't let a sense of urgency push you into a decision you might later regret. Second, challenge your own assumptions. Actively fight against confirmation bias by playing devil's advocate. Deliberately seek out information and opinions that contradict your own. Ask yourself, what if I'm wrong? What would the other side of this argument be? This forces you to consider a broader range of perspectives and helps you make a more balanced and informed choice. Third, reframe the situation. If you're struggling with a decision, try looking at it from different angles. If a choice is presented in a negative frame, try to rephrase it in a positive one, and vice versa. Ask yourself how you would advise a friend in the same situation. This technique, called self-distancing, creates psychological space and helps you see the problem more objectively, free from your immediate emotional reactions. Fourth, limit your options. To combat the paradox of choice, be intentional about narrowing down your alternatives. If you're shopping online, use filters to reduce the number of items you see. If you're choosing a restaurant, limit your search to a specific cuisine or neighborhood. Remember that the goal is not to find the one single perfect option, but to find one that is good enough and meets your needs. This will reduce paralysis and increase your satisfaction. And finally, be mindful of your emotional state. Before making a significant decision, do a quick check-in with yourself. Are you feeling angry, anxious, or overly excited? If so, it might be best to postpone the decision until you're in a calmer, more neutral frame of mind. Acknowledging your emotions doesn't mean ignoring them. It means understanding how they might be coloring your judgment so you can account for them. Becoming a better decision maker is not about achieving perfection or eliminating all bias. That's impossible. It's a lifelong practice of self-awareness and critical thinking. It's about recognizing the invisible forces at play and consciously choosing to step back, reflect, and make a choice that truly aligns with your goals and values. By doing so, you're not just making better decisions, you're taking back control and actively designing the life you want to live. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the mind. If you found this helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more deep dives into psychology and self-improvement. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. What's a decision you've made that you now see in a completely new light? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.